You didn't call him. You didn't make a sound. Maybe you were sitting on the bathroom floor at 2 in the morning, back against the cold tile, not crying, just existing in that heavy, wordless way that happens when something inside you breaks quietly. Or maybe you were at the kitchen table staring at nothing, a cup of tea going cold beside your hand. You hadn't moved. You hadn't spoken. And then he was there, not bounding in, not demanding attention, just there. Body pressed gently against your leg, chin lowered to your knee, eyes fixed on your face, with a steadiness that felt almost unbearable in its patience. He didn't leave. He didn't look away. He simply stayed, as if staying was the only thing that mattered. And somewhere in that moment, beneath the weight of whatever you were carrying, a question formed without words. How did he know? Most people answer that question the same way. He loves me. He sensed I was sad. He wanted to help. And here's the thing. That answer isn't wrong, but it's incomplete in a way that actually undersells what your dog just did. Because what happened in that quiet room wasn't just love. It was something older, more precise, and far more extraordinary than comfort. Your dog wasn't responding to your feelings. Your dog was responding to your biology. When you enter emotional distress, real distress, the kind that lives in the body before it reaches the mind, your physiology changes in ways you don't control and can't conceal. Cortisol rises, heart rate shifts. The micro tension in your muscles subtly alters the way you hold your posture, the way you breathe, the way you sit, and your scent profile changes at a chemical level, measurably, detectably, completely. Your dog reads all of this, simultaneously, instantly, not as a choice, but as a reflex, the way your eyes adjust to darkness before you've even noticed the room has changed. What you experienced as being comforted was also, at the same moment, your dog experiencing something that functions like concern. Something in the environment shifted. The person it is most bonded to was emitting signals that didn't match baseline, and that mismatch created a pull toward proximity it couldn't resist. Both things are true at once. You were being held, and it was worried. That's not a contradiction, that's the full picture. Research from Goldsmiths, University of London, published in 2012 by Custance and Meyer, found that dogs approach and offer contact-seeking behavior to crying individuals at dramatically higher rates than to people who are simply talking or humming, including strangers. This matters because it rules out simple conditioning. The dog isn't responding to a familiar cue it was taught. It's responding to something it detects as distress, automatically, neurologically, as a function of a social nervous system built through thousands of years of living inside human emotional ecosystems. What happens when your dog presses its body against yours isn't performance, it's co-regulation. Physical contact between bonded mammals triggers a measurable drop in cortisol and a rise in oxytocin in both individuals. Your dog has learned, not through training, but through lived experience, that this contact reduces the distress signals coming from you. The behavior that looks like loyalty is also, quietly, one of the most effective emotional interventions one living being can offer another, and the olfactory dimension of this is even more precise than most people realize. A 2022 study demonstrated that trained dogs could identify breath and sweat samples from humans in acute stress states versus calm states with 93.75% accuracy. But here's what that study implies about your untrained dog sitting on the bathroom floor beside you. Your emotional state isn't hidden from him. It isn't private. Chemically speaking, it is announced the moment it begins before you've processed it yourself. This is why the behavior intensifies in specific conditions. Dogs stay closest during grief, during physical illness, during deep fatigue, during the kind of fear that settles into the body like weather. These are the states that produce the greatest physiological departure from your baseline, and your baseline is something your dog has been quietly, continuously building an internal model of since the day it came into your life, not consciously, but completely. It knows what normal feels like in you, which means not normal registers immediately and completely. It's worth pausing here to distinguish between two behaviors that can look identical from the outside. A dog that stays close because it is emotionally attuned looks calm, body relaxed, eyes soft, breathing steady, occasionally lifting its head to check your face. A dog that stays close because it is itself anxious looks different, panting when there's no heat, unable to settle, following your every movement like it might lose you if it stops. One is the dog offering regulation, the other is the dog desperately seeking it. They both look like closeness. They have opposite internal origins. This capacity for attunement wasn't an accident of domestication. It was selected for during it. Over roughly 15,000 years of living alongside humans, dogs that were sensitive to human emotional states were more valuable, more protected, more integrated into human life. Emotional attunement wasn't a personality trait, it was a survival advantage. The dogs that monitored their humans, that stayed close during vulnerability, that responded to distress without being asked, those were the dogs that thrived. What you feel as presence in a quiet room tonight is also the long echo of that ancient selection. Two common beliefs about this behavior deserve to be addressed directly. The first, that dogs do this for attention or because they associate closeness with reward. Studies consistently show this behavior occurs regardless of feeding schedules or prior reinforcement. It is triggered by distress cues specifically, not routine signals. The second, that if your dog doesn't move to press against you, it means it doesn't care. Response style varies significantly by breed, temperament, and attachment history. Some dogs stay close through physical contact. Others watch from across the room, ears, tracking your every sound, body oriented toward you with absolute precision. Attunement doesn't always look like touch. Sometimes it looks like witness. And research on human-animal interaction shows something worth sitting with. Owners who allow contact during emotional difficulty return to baseline cortisol levels faster than those who push the dog away. Your dog's impulse to stay is not excessive. It is not inconvenient. Biologically speaking, it is useful, and your willingness to receive it completes the loop your dog is already trying to close. Start paying attention to when your dog moves closer. Is it during phone calls where your tone shifts? During evenings, when your energy drops before you've admitted you're tired? During tension in the home that no one has spoken aloud? These are not random moments. Your dog is responding to something real and readable in you, something your own mind hasn't fully acknowledged yet. That gap between what your body signals and what your conscious mind admits is exactly where your dog lives. So the next time your dog presses against you in a silent room when you haven't said a word and haven't asked for anything, understand what you are actually experiencing. Not sentiment, not performance, one of the most scientifically grounded, evolutionarily ancient, neurologically sophisticated behaviors in the animal kingdom, directed specifically and precisely at you. Your cortisol, your posture, your breath, your scent, all of it being read, processed, and responded to by a creature whose entire social nervous system evolved to stay close to yours. This isn't clinginess, it isn't coincidence. It is a living system exquisitely calibrated over thousands of years that has made you its entire world and knows, without language, without explanation, without being asked, exactly when you need it most. Think of the last time your dog stayed close when you weren't okay. Drop that moment in the comments. I'd genuinely like to know. And next, we'll look at something just as precise: why your dog watches your face more than any other part of you and what it's actually reading there.